This session, we are going to cover one of the sessions that was previously taken by our primary faculty. So in our previous revision hackathon, we have covered till make features. Today, we are going to do a little hands-on on our joins and reshape. So let me share my screen and first point make features. Okay. So people who are joining us on YouTube, request you to mute there if you're joining on Zoom as well. Great. Now, let me share my screen. Great. Yeah, here we are. So in today's revision hackathon, we are covering the join and reshape data module 1.4. So in our previous hackathons, we have covered the make features covered by Jay sir himself. So if at all you have missed that lecture, you can watch that again, or you can directly go through the actual lecture that is here. You can directly go through the lecture. Else, you can go through the revision hackathon as well, right? So today we'll do a little hands-on on our join and reshape data. So to get the collab file of the same, you can go ahead and use this join and reshape underscore data.ipynb. You can open that in collab directly using this link. Else, I'll be sharing it on chat as well, right? So give me a second. The link to today's session is here. So it will be in viewer access. You require to make a copy of it. Let me show you that as well. So people who are joining us for the first time. Yeah, so the collab file is here. And if my audio is clear, type A in the chat box. Great. So people who are watching us on social channels, you can put it in the chat itself. Great. Yeah. So if my audio is clear, type A in the chat box. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now, if you open the collab file that I've shared, I request you to request everyone to open the collab file on your device, because as we have seen in our previous sessions, practice is something where you will remember and have a better recall as well, right? So let me also address, so people who have joined us recently, I can say Anita ma'am, you recently joined. These let me just explain the format of these lectures. These lectures are a revision of whatever the lectures happen primary. These happen in a cyclic manner. So one cycle will cover the whole modules. Again, we'll repeat from the beginning. So let me share my screen and point you in that direction as well. Great. So now you can see that this is the actual lecture that we are covering today. Join and reshape data. So if it is something new, you can pick up a few bits from this particular session, or you can choose to come back from the beginning as well. So that should not be a problem, right? So the recordings of these revision hackathons will also be there in your inner circle. Okay, so in the chat, I have shared the link to the collab file. So if you are able to open it, type O in the chat box, right? So for the people who have joined now, I will the link here, right? So if you're able to open the link, type O in the chat box. I request everyone to, thank you so much, ma'am. I request everyone to run it, because apart from the actual lectures, in these lectures, only we are going to practice. So because we are going to spend our next 60 minutes to, 60 to 70 minutes here, why not practice it? Right. So let me share my screen. And in our one of our hackathons, we covered Rajiv sir's lecture where we understood joins in a overview way. Now we'll understand it in a deeper sense. Okay. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So here we are. And if you look at the data, so we'll understand more about joins here. So in our previous lecture also, Rajiv sir explained joins clearly. So today we are going to rediscuss them and go in a little deeper manner. So first, there are only 4 types of joins that we normally use and which are primarily used. One is inner join. So if you have used the Venn diagrams previously, if you have 2 tables or 2 data sets or data frames, the common ones are coming in the inner join. So whenever you specify in the command that we write inner, it will do an inner join. And when we do an outer join, you will get all of the rows, right? So then back then we have understood we have tested this on sample data. Now what we are going to do, we are going to do some real data testing, right? So left join is only the common pieces coming from both along with the left side table. Right join is the all of the right side elements along with the intersection portion, right? So today we'll look at more of the inner join portion. Great. So the data set that we are using today is a data set provided by Instacart. So even in the actual lecture, James sir explains about the Instacart. Instacart is online grocery delivery, equivalent of Grofers or Swiggy Genie in the US. So they have open sourced their 3 million Instacart orders. So it has all of the data is given in that particular sheet. So we are going to use one of the data sets provided by Instacart, right? So it has got 3 million orders from roughly about 25,000 plus customer base. Like this particular data set has a huge data set, right? So now what we are going to do is we are going to work with this particular data set, right? Okay. So now we have understood the Instacart is going to be our data set. So how do we import the data set is similar to how we have done previously, right? So previously what we have done, we have always gone forward and created a variable for the URL. So if you look at the URL here, the data set is uploaded on the GitHub of Pixeltests, right? So if you open this URL, so why are we uploading the file into a CSV? Because we have a command on in pandas where you can import a CSV by .read_CSV function, right? So the CSV, you have to have the CSV file URL that is also specified in the collab file link that I have shared, right? So great. Great. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is for the people who have joined again, I've shared the link to collab file. I request you to go ahead and do practice as we are doing. Right. So now in this CSV file, we are going to see what all columns are there. So let me first go ahead and clear out all the outputs. Great. Yeah, so the data URL is clear. Now what we are doing here is we are creating a data frame where we are importing this, right? So, and we have named that data set as order_products_prior, right? So what we are going to do, let us print that particular data set here, right? So I'm going to run this. Right, so when we have ran the .head function here, we are able to see the first 5 rows of that particular data frame, right? So now we have order ID, product ID, add to cart order, like how many orders have been added, how many products have been added to the cart, and reordered, if they have reordered it or are they coming for the first time, right? So that particular information is available in this data set, right? So even if you open that CSV file, this is a comma separated file. So this is how the data will look. If at all you import it into a Google Sheet or any Excel workbook, you'll be able to see data in the same format. Right. So now that we have imported the orders underscore products underscore prior. So here, this is going to be our one of the data frames or data sets that we are going to use for our joins. Right. So if at all we want to see the shape of the same, what we're going to do is dot shape. When we do the dot shape, it is going to let us know how many rows and columns it has. It has 25,000 rows spread across 4 columns, right? So this is like a huge data set. We even going forward, we are going to, when we are merging or joining, in some places we'll have bigger data sets, some places we'll have smaller data sets, right? So like as usual, we are going to do the dot describe function. We can use the dot info function to know the information about different columns. Now, first, let's also try doing that. So when you do the info, it is going to give you info on what data types each of the column has. So now we are able to see that each of the column has 25,000 rows and data type of each column is an integer, right? So now if we are going to go ahead and do the dot describe function, we are going to get a few of the important stats, right? So now you can see that the count is 25,000. That is very much evident. And here, if you look at the minimum of that is starting from 1 and going till 25,000. So those IDs is there. So we have another, we are going to do a dot describe where it is going to be more clear, like we are going to use that also. So first we'll, instead of trying to understand the percentile, we also have the 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile here. So instead of trying to understand it over the whole 25,000 data set, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do first head, like say head, and in that I'm going to call in the first 10 rows. Now you can see that there are 10 rows. Now understanding the stats would become easier here. So now over that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do sort underscore values. And I'm going to, we have discussed about these individual functions previously. So now you can see that here the prompt is also saying, it says you can sort and give the name of the column, right? So I already listed it here. So you can go ahead and name the column here, right? So we are going to say sort by add to cart order, right? So now what it is going to do is it's going to sort from, give me a second. Two braces. Okay, so you need not require a brace here. Sorry. Yeah, so it has sorted from the from 1 till 17. So now in the head, in this particular 10 columns, 10 rows we have seen, it starting from 1 and going to add to cart order 17, right? So now we'll try to do a describe over this, right? So I'm going to copy the same command and say dot describe here, right? So it becomes, we can immediately compare it here itself. So now you can see the count is 10. Yeah, that is good. The maximum is 17, clear. Minimum is 1, that is also clear. Now, what is this 25th percentile, right? So now you can see that when you order it, when you give, when you put it in an increasing order, 25th percentile means in the first 25% of the data set, the highest of that is 6.5, right? So here, if you see, the 25th percentile is 6.75. So what that means is Yes, thank you so much, sir. So now in the 25th percentile, it tells us that all of the orders in the first 25th 25 sorted orders are less than 6.5. So meaning 6.7, no, there is no order in the first 25th percentile which is higher than 6.75. So this is the highest value. So why is this useful? So now if you see, let's also come there. Why is this useful? So let's go till 50th percentile, which means now you can see that 50th percentile would come roughly around this, right? It will come to 9 and between 9 and 10. So it will be 9.5. So now you can see that it is the median here. Now, if at all we just see the mean, right, which is 9.4. Like for example, if somebody asks what is the average add to cart order, normally what we do is we sum all of that and divide by the number of orders, but it could not, sometimes it is not uniform. Most of the orders are maybe towards the end or something. So what happens is now you'll be able to say, yeah, so 25% of the orders are the number of products added to the cart here are less than 6.75, right? So that is how it is there. So 50% is nothing but the median itself, right? So even Jain sir in the lecture also explains this with the help of a Google Sheet. So what we have done is we have just used the dot head function to get the visual of the same here, right? So 75th percentile means in the total first 75 percentage of the orders, 12.5 is the highest number of add to carts, right? The number of products added there, right? So I hope this is clear. If the percentile is clear, type C in the chat box. Right, so we have already discussed dot describe previously. Now we have understood with an example that what 25th percentile means is this, all the orders in the first 25%, the first quarter, are less than 6.75. 6.75 is the highest. So thank you, Ravindra sir. Thank you, Suraj sir. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Great. Okay. So now, thank you, Suju ma'am. Now, so this is the first data set that we have got, and we have understood what are the important stats from this particular data set using the .info and .describe. Now, there is the second data set that we are using, which is the underscore train one. So this also is part of the other CSV. So now if we try to run it and import that data set into the data frame, order underscore products underscore train, right? So we are going to run it and get the first 5 rows of it, right? So now you can see that it is very much similar to the previous data set only. So they have split the data into, let's just say, 2 different data sets, right? So similarly, you can get dot tail for the last 5 rows of that particular data set. Now, something similar you can always do here. Now, what we have done is we have just taken out the head and did the describe. So I'm going to remove that and going to do the describe on the whole data set. Now we'll have a clear understanding that the mean of the total add to cart here is out of the 25,000 orders, 25,000 rows is 8.84. The max is 67. Somebody added 67 products to their cart, but the median is average, or the median is 7, right? So this dot describe gives us the important stats in one view, right? Okay, so now that we've understood that, we are going forward and getting 2 more data sets. So one data set is called orders. So now the order URL, the data URL also we have in this variable called orders underscore URL, and we are creating a data frame by name orders, right? So let us see how the columns in this particular data set look, right? It looks different. Now you can see that the columns here are order ID, user ID, eval underscore set. We are going to work with a few of them. So you can see that order R of the day, right? So order R of the day. Even sensor in the lecture explains, like an order 8 means in the 8 a.m. 16 is nothing but in the 24-hour format, right? So 16 would be 2 p.m., right? Yeah. Great. So now that we have, yeah, Vinita ma'am has a question. Correct. So basically 25% is the highest, 25 percentile is the highest value in the first quarter, right? That is how it is there, madam. It's not the median value, it is the highest value in the top quarter. Yeah, so basically, if you look at percentages or scores, when somebody says you've scored in the 86th percentile, means you've scored higher than 86% of the people. Yeah. Great. So now we're also taking in the other data set here, the final data set. Let's say we have named it as products, and the head of it is this way, right? So it has columns: product ID, product name, aisle ID, and department ID, right? So to work with joins, what we are going to do is, as done by Sir in the session, we are going to try to visualize it by using an Excel sheet. So if we have 4 data sets here, so the first and second data set are in this way, the tables. So let me try to bring in the columns here. So there is table 1. So let's say, so now there is table 1. In that table 1, what we are going to do is we are going to paste these columns, right? Yeah. Let me try that again. Yeah. So we have these 4 columns in table 1. Let's go for table 2. So we have seen that table 2 also has similar columns. So we are going to list them here. Great. Thank you so much. So we are going to go for the table 3. Now you can see that the table 3's columns are order ID, user ID. We are going to copy them and use them here. Okay. Right. So it will be helpful for us to plan. So it will become simpler while we try to assess it. Right. Yeah. So we are with the table 3 also. Now go for table 4. Let's go to the table 4. And the table 4 has only 4 columns. I'm going to use them here. So in the lecture that we have, come across in the Rajesh's lecture, we have taken a sample data sets. Now we are working with a real data set, which has multiple columns. So it becomes easier for us. So there we had limited set of columns. Now it becomes easier for us to actually understand how this is used in real time, right? So now we can see that table 1 and table 2, because they have similar set of rows and a similar set of column, we can directly go ahead and concatenate. So where you can, without any change, you do not have to do any inner join or anything. You can directly go ahead and merge them. And if at all, the whole the outcome will be 25,000 rows of this and 25,000 rows of this, which will become a 50,000 data set, which then we can overlap with table 3. So now what ID we have common between table 2 and table 3 is the order underscore ID. So we are going to do an inner join using the order underscore ID, right? So this is how we are going to do an inner join. This also has been clearly explained by Jayan sir. So we are just going to do the same here as well, right? So now what we are going to do is we are going to concatenate the both table 1 and table 2, right? So if you remember the concatenate syntax previously, it goes this way, where you say pd.concat, where we give the table 1 comma table 2, right? So the concat, when we did it in the previous lectures, if we had inconsistent column names, different column names, what happened is null values, nans came in, right? So now because both of these tables have same columns, we will not have that problem, right? So we're going to do the concatenate here and do the head of that. We'll check. Yeah, so it has the same structure. Now let's see the shape of it. Now you can see that there are 50,000 rows in this particular data set, right? So now if we are clear till this particular portion, where how we were able to concatenate using the pd.concat function, we have used the concat function to concat both tables, which was the prior and the train one. So when we have concatenated and we copied that, we have that data frame now in orders underscore products. Right. So if it is clear till now, type C in the chat box. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Great. So what I would request people, because we have many members who have joined recently. So even Anil sir, Anita ma'am, thanks for joining in. So let me explain the structure of these revision hackathons. These revision hackathons are going to be revision of the lectures done by the primary faculty here, Jayan sir and Rajiv sir. So if at all you have missed any of it, because if at all this is the first time, don't be overwhelmed. You can go back, go through the actual lectures in Reachable. We are going to do this sessions in a cyclic format because we have people who are coming in from the bronze or coming in from the silver or the gold communities. I request you to rename yourself this way, right? So you are going to rename in front of your name. If you are from the silver community, you're going to say AI Silver and Sachi, right? So I'm going to do that. So this becomes easier for identification. Let's say here my name says Sachi. I'm going to name as AI Silver Sachi, right? So this is how even today we'll be having our inner circle. I request you to do the same practice there as well, right? So I request everyone to rename as the membership plus your name, right? So the instruction is also on the chat. Thanks everyone. Great. So let's proceed forward. So because this portion of it is clear for many, right? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Vinita ma'am, for the change. Yeah. This will be useful for us to track the progress and benefits for everyone. Right. Great. So coming back to the session, we were able to concatenate table 1 and table 2 because they had same columns. We did not have to use inner join or merge functions. like we have previously done. Now the actual operation of merge we are trying to do on the overlap of 1 and 2 with 3, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to say table, let's say table, sorry, 1 plus 2, we are going to merge it, let's just say, with 3, right? So all simply simple as 3, right? We are going to do that, right? So it had 50, the whole data set. Now 1 plus 2 had 50,000 data sets as a rows in that. Now when we are going to merge it, it will on inner join, it is going to give us only the common rows, right? So it will be a smaller data set, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if we go forward, we'll try to understand, we have understood the inner join. Let's go ahead and do the same, right? So here we are, right? So now what we are doing is we are going to do a merge on orders and products, right? Over order underscore ID, right? So what we are going to do, orders and products is going to be the new data frame. Here we are going to use the dot merge function. So if you remember, in the hackathon we have done previously, or from the lecture by Rajiv sir, we have also understood the dot merge function on a sample data set. Now the syntax goes like this: you name the first data set and the second data set and say how are you going to join it. Is it going to be inner join, left join, right? If it is left, you're going to say left, right. Outer, you need not you can say outer also, right? So now you have to give the common ID as well, right? So let me just say, okay, so first let's do this. I think I missed this. So we are going to first do a merge on orders and orders underscore products, right? Let us go ahead and run that, right? And then see the head of that particular row. So now what is going to happen is, you can see that because we did the overlap of these columns along with these, the merged data set will have the columns. I'm not writing the order ID once again. We're going to write them here. Now you can see that 4 from table 2 and the rest of them from the table 3. All of them are going to get joined over order ID. So order ID is going to be the same. So let us go ahead and check if we have the same number of rows. So let's say the number of columns we have here are 10. Let's do a shape of the same. Okay, let me just try to print it. Yeah, so you can see that it has 10 columns, right? So now as we have got it, write the output of the merge of the data set, the first one and the third one has 10 columns in it, and the common rows were 357, right? So when you do the inner join, you will get the rows which are common in both data sets, right? So if this particular inner join is clear, type C in the chat box, right? So now we'll try to understand what is there in the data set also. If you understood how we have merged 2 data sets using the inner function. Yeah, so using the inner join, the merge function. Great. Thank you, Ravinder sir. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Thank you, Suju ma'am. Great. So now what this data set is giving us, what kind of information it is giving is now we have order ID, and we also have from the second data set, what hour of the day that order happened, right? Initially, we did not have that data against the order ID. Now we have order ID, and now we are also able to visualize what was the hour of the day or any other data set, any other information like that, right? So now this is a merged data set. This is how we merge over the common column, right? So let's go ahead and do the same on the second, the final data set as well, right? So what we are going to do is, now if at all we have to merge this over this, what is the common ID we have? We do not have order ID in table 4. So we'll have to search for something that is common in this and this, right? So we could see that product underscore ID is something that is common in both of them, right? So we will be able to merge using the product underscore ID, right? So we are going to run the same syntax, pd.merge in the same orders underscore and underscore products. What we are doing, we are saying on product underscore ID, and how we are going to join it, we are using the inner join. So when you run this, you'll be able to merge both of them. Now let's see the head of it, right? So now you can see that, okay, so first let us see in theory, how many should we have? We should have 10 here along with 3 more, right? So this should be the whole data set. Now when we are going to do all of this plus 4, we are going to have 13 columns. We should be having 13 columns. So if you go ahead and see the shape of the same, you'll be able to see that, yes, there are 13 columns, but now the common, the inner of the previous data set and this data set has towards the end only 185 rows, right? So we have come to that understanding, and even in the actual lecture, Jain sir explains that the challenge is not abundance of data. We had 50,000 rows of data sets of orders and all, but once you format it and try to make relevant data, the data that is relevant to us, it is a very smaller data set. So this is where your data science skills come into play, where you are able to work on data sets which are relevant. So there is huge amount of data that gets available, but for you to generate some insightful insights out of the whole data, you'll need the skills to generate relevance out of it, right? So if you've understood how we have done inner joins, type C in the chat box, right? So if this particular portion is clear, type C in the chat box. Thank you so much, Ravindra sir. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Right. So now that we have our final data set, now let us do, thank you, Sujul. Now let us try to do some insight generation now that we have the data set. So till now we have clear with the, how to do the joins. Now we have done a few of the functions that we have done in our EDA sessions taken by Jain sir and also Rajiv sir. We're going to use the same exploratory data analysis functions here to generate some more information, right? So now all of this data set, we are going to make a copy of the same of a few columns into a new data frame called final, right? So this is how the syntax for bringing in the columns. So if at all, first what I'm going to do is, let us only bring out of these 13 columns, only columns, let's say user ID, order hour of the day, order DOW, add to cart order, and product underscore ID. So when we run this, so this is how the data set is going to look like. So it is what, to make it easier for us to work with, we are going to name that particular data set as final, and we are going to generate the insights on final, right? So if we go ahead and look at the info of final, it has got these 6 columns, all of them are integer, right? So all numeric data and relevant data we have taken out in the final data set, right? So if at all we want to generate count, right? So if you want to generate the count of total user IDs, we've already got the data set, the number, which is 185. But if at all there are repeat orders also in that particular data set, right? So a few users, like many users only order once. So they are only one-time orders, but there'll be some people who are regular customers. If you look at Swiggy and Zomato, the examples taken in the actual lecture also, some people are repeat orders. So that will, if a person orders 3 times, it as a unique user, he'll be counted as one only. So let's see n unique, how many out of these are unique. So there are 173 people who are unique, right? So the n unique is going to be useful in that particular way, right? So now if we go forward, now we want to understand, there's this one prompt which says how many users ordered only once versus more than one time, right? So what we are going to do is, we have used value counts earlier to group data by user ID. What value counts is going to do, if there are users who have ordered thrice, it will be grouped as one and the count is given as 3, right? So we're going to do the same here. Now you can see that there's this one particular user, 180743, who has ordered 4 times, right? So here you can see that there are multiple number of users who are ordering from 1, 2, and 4 times, right? So this is what, now you can see that value counts is always going to give the unique users only, because we had 173 unique people, because it has grouped by user ID, right? So I hope the value counts is clear now. We have used value counts in our previous 2 hackathon sessions also. Now, by now it must have been clear, but now because we're working on real-time data set, it will be far more clearer, right? So if it is clear till now, type C in the chat box. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Thank you, Sushil ma'am. Thank you, Ravindra sir. So now, because till now we have understood a little insights, we generated a few insights. Now let's visualize that particular data. Like in one of the revisions that we have done of Rajiv sir's Seaborn. Now we are also going to do the Seaborn. We're going to use the library Seaborn and generate a few insights out of this in a visual format, right? So what we are going to do is, we are going to import Seaborn as an alias SNS, right? So you can also import matplotlib. Matplotlib is also similar to Seaborn. Now Seaborn has more visually it has more appeal, and you'll be able to generate more attractive graphs using Seaborn. So we have earlier worked with Seaborn, so we can just go ahead and import Seaborn here, right? So now what we are going to do is, we are going to use the SNS alias of Seaborn. So the Seaborn object dot count plot, right? So we have seen in our Seaborn lecture, the revision hackathon, multiple graphs, but here we are going to limit ourselves to only 4 to 5 of them, right? So we are going to use the count plot on user ID, right? So let's go ahead and run it. Now, okay, so here we're let's say, because there are 173 users, most of them placing order, let's say once, or having once, so you'll not be able to make most of it. So let's try to do dot head of it and try to generate so count plot over that, right? Let me just try to do here. Okay, this should not work. So let us try to use it from here directly. So we have final. Out of the final, we are going to take the first 10, right? And say we're going to name our data frame. Say let's say call it new, right? New data frame. So I'm going to first print the new data set. Right, so we have 10 rows here. Now it will become easier for us to plot. So we are going to say new data frame of user underscore ID. Right, so now you can see that in this 10 rows we had, it is giving us the count. So now you can see that the 11782, he has come in that particular data set twice, right? So this is how a count plot will become helpful, right? When you're working with limited set of data, or because in this particular data sets, the number of orders, especially these 173 people, have only ordered once, twice, thrice, or 4 times. So you'll not be able to get a different kind of data in the count plot. So we are going to use hist plot for the same. Now, if you do a hist plot, it's going to give you a histogram of all of the users, right? So it is going to give you a count of how many orders are happening over the number of users, right? So now you can see that most of the users are going in what sort of orders, like how many the count of how many orders they are giving, right? So this is the hist plot that we have used. Now what we are going to do is we want to generate some insight which is more of which we can give it to the, let's say, marketing team or something, right? So now what we are trying to do here is we are going to do a mean of the order R of the day grouped by order underscore ID, right? So over the data set, which is final, in that we are going to group by order underscore ID. First, let us try to get the data of it. Yeah, so now this is going to be the group. Now we are going to use the mean. Yeah, so what it is going to give is, it is going to group orders by order ID, and is going to give us order R of that particular day. So what it is telling us is this particular order, the order R was 21, right? So which means it was ordered roughly around 9 o'clock, right? So now what we are going to do is we are going to copy the whole of it into a new data frame. Let's call it time underscore of underscore day, right? So now let us try to do a hist plot, which will be more insightful. Now you can see that out of all of the orders, most of the orders came in roughly at the 15th hour, right? So now this could mean, first a few orders came in at 5 a.m. and, last set of orders came towards 10:30, right? So now what could have happened here is you can see that maybe this could have been lunchtime. People were ordering something to prepare for the lunch or the upcoming dinner. So that is some insight. Or maybe you can also give an insight to the marketing team saying ki, most of the purchases happen in this period, why don't you send your push notifications or emails around this time, right? So this is some insight which will be helpful to achieve any of the other business goals that the business might have, right? So now we are able to plot the order IDs over the order R of the day, right? So now this graph becomes a little more insightful over the previous graphs, right? Because now you are able to generate what are the highest order times, right? So if this hist plot is clear and how we have used the time of the day to generate this hist plot, type C in the chat box if that is clear. So if you are able to understand, yeah, thank you so much, man. So hist plot gives us the histogram, and we can use based upon our other functions and merges or groups, that whatever functions we have used previously, then merging it with any of the visualization Seaborn related functions, you'll be able to generate graphs. Thank you, Vinita, ma'am. Thank you. right? So now if at all we also want to know, now we have understood the time. Now let's say if we want to know what day of the weeks the orders are highest, so we are going to do the same group by, but we are going to say day of the week, order underscore day of the week we are going to do, and we are going to do the dot mean. We are copying whole of that into day of the week data frame, and we are going to do a hist plot of the same, right? So now you can see that let's say on the from 0 to 6, we do not actually have the index of what 0 is. Was 0 a Saturday or a Sunday? But this gives us an insight. Let's say if 0 was Saturday and 1 was Sunday, the peak of the orders were here. And say Monday, the orders were, there were no huge orders. And then it kind of went down midweek, and then towards weekend as we are picking up, it is again peaked, right? So now you can use this insight also to reconfirm any of your other hypotheses or insight that you have generated. You can always say, okay, is my assessment or insight, whatever I'm generating, matching with the data, right? So if at all we want to do, similarly, there are some other questions also that have been mentioned, some of which are answered here and some of which are, empty. So like last time we have asked the members who have joined to go ahead and answer the quiz. I request to go ahead and take the quiz. The quiz for the joins would be also uploaded in today itself. So I request you to go ahead, go through all of these questions that are there in the collab file and also answer the quiz, right? So this way you'll be able to assess your learning further, and when you do hands-on, it will be more your recall will be even stronger, right? So a few questions that are answered are like this. Like say, what was the most commonly ordered product? Right. So now what we are doing is we are getting the order ID column and doing value counts, which is going to automatically group by unique orders here. And when I'm going to run this, so it is going to give me the order, the most commonly ordered product is here, right? Maybe we might have to instead of order ID, do the product ID, right? So when you do the product ID, let's see what were the columns. We had the product ID. So when you do the product ID, you will get the most popular product also. Let's try to run that. So you can see that this particular product 13176 is being ordered 5 times. So yeah, so it should be the most ordered product. Yeah, so Ravindra sir asked, in histogram, the number is to be in the middle of the graph. Which number, Ravindra sir? Maybe you can unmute and ask.
0 to 6 represent the week, so days of the week.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah. So because we are working with data and numeric data would be helpful. The Instacart order, the data set that is there, it has labeled from 0 to 6. Most probably 0 and 1 being Saturday and Sunday, and following all the weeks. Yes, sir. So all the days of the week. Thanks for that, sir. Yeah. So now we have used value counts over product underscore ID. And we have come across, like, if we go in the data set and see what 13176 was, you'll also know the name of the product. Okay, so let's say tomatoes was most popular ordered product, right? So similarly, if at all we want to see the n unique of the same, either of the product ID or order ID, you'll be able to get the n unique also, and the unique out of that, right? So the other way is because value count also gives you the length here, which in itself is going to be the unique set of products. So there are 157 unique products that are there, though there are 173 orders. So some of them are repeat products, given that out of these 157 unique products, 13176 was the highest ordered product, right? So there's another prompt that says how many products were ordered more than once, right? So now how are we doing that? So we are doing we are grouping by order ID and getting the other column, which is add to cart order, right? So because add to cart order is going to give you if we go ahead and see the database. Now how many products have been added to that particular cart is there in the add to cart column. Now what we are trying to do here is do a value counts of the same, right? So when you do the value counts, you will group that and you'll be able to generate how many times the orders were generated, right? So now if we go ahead and check this, we can get the information of the same, right? So how many of that were ordered, right? So basically what we are doing here is instead of order ID, how many products were ordered more than once. Okay, so to actually generate that, how many products were ordered more than once. Okay, so that is easy. What you can do here is we are able to generate the value counts here. So out of this, we need to understand how many products were ordered twice, more than once. So now you can see that there were a few products which were ordered only once. So we are going to ignore all of these and do a sum of all the products that were ordered more than once. So this will be the data set where you can see that there were products which are ordered more than once, right? So that is going to be helpful, right? Similarly, there are other questions also, like how many times did people only order one thing, right? So there are a few questions like this, and there is also going to be a quiz. So I request you to go ahead. I'll point you out in the direction of the quiz. Similarly, I'd also request you to go ahead and finish the assignments also. Let me stop my screen share and point you on Teachable itself. Yeah, so you can let me know if my screen is visible here. Great. So once you, yes, Vinita ma'am. Yeah, it was product ID only. Like when we have given. So if you take the n uniques from the product underscore ID itself, you can directly go ahead and get the assessment from the product underscore ID itself ma'am. Yeah, so that is how it is. So yeah, so if my screen is visible in this particular exploratory data analysis, the module 1.2, you can see that the assignment is here. So what you can always go ahead and do it is in this assignment, there's a collab file, the IPYNB file. When you open it, you'll be able to see there'll be some prompts and questions. Now, you can see that there is also a form to submit your assignment. But now we are going to also include a few questions based upon this here in the quiz itself, right? So you can first go ahead and attempt the assignment. And once you attempt the assignments, like the questions would be simple. Like for example, here, based upon the EDS, one of the topics, what is being asked in task 2. Look at the first and last rows of the data frame, assign the first 10 rows from the table that is in discussion here. So we are talking about the data set, which is the adults data set here. So that the insights about that are going to be asked here, right? So there are a few tasks listed in EDA. Similarly, in make features And similarly in join and reshape data also, right? So here you'll be finding the quiz. There is definitely the option for submitting the assignment, but when you have a quiz, the quiz is auto graded. Here a manual intervention will happen where somebody has to check, and there'll be delay in getting your score. But when you have a quiz, you will be able to check your assessment, how you performed then and there, right? So I request you to first, before the quiz is live, I request you to go ahead and attempt all the assignments in 1.2, 3, and 4, right? Correct. So now coming back to Pinta ma'am's question. So that is something I also made out, madam. Here. Yeah, so how many products were ordered more than once? Yeah, so when we have the order ID, yes, the data will not be consistent, because you can see here, when you're doing value counts, all of the products that are there here are not ordered more than 5 times. So it's always good if you can go ahead and do the most commonly ordered product over product ID, right? So here we're going to use the product ID only and generate the value counts. Yeah, so order ID in and the column add to cart order, and you'll be able to generate that particular insight. Great. Yeah, so now you can understand from this particular data set only that, yeah, you can, how many times a few products were ordered more than once. Yes, so Ravindra sir has a question. Yeah, so a quiz will be very simple, sir. It will have a few options. You have to just choose one of them. So you don't have to in detail give any specific understanding of what has gone and all those things. It will be very simple quiz, right? Right now you have quiz for 1.1 and 1.2. You can see that will be very much straightforward. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions you can put on the chat, and people who have joined us recently, I request you to go through the recordings of the inner circle. Of all of the hackathons will be there in inner circles, or you can go ahead and start from the lecture beginning itself, right? So that brings us to the conclusion of today's session. In the upcoming sessions, maybe we'll go forward and first do a few of the assignment of the ADA, make features and joins, and then we'll proceed into our next further topics, right? So assignments would something something that is going to increase our recall, and you can see that most of our data science or initial pre-processing is going to happen on the first foundational topics, and that is why we're emphasizing on the assignments, right? So thank you so much, everyone. And I hope today's session was clear, and if you understood most of it, you can type U in the chat box. Thank you, Suja ma'am. Thank you, Vinita. Yeah, so as you proceed, if you find there is anything that needs more clarification, you can go ahead and reach out to us over email also, or maybe bring that to our next session. Yes. Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining in. Great. So Aviral sir, if you have any if you have something, maybe you can wait, and when we can clarify. Yes. Thank you, Suja ma'am. Thanks all. Yeah, Suja ma'am says thanks to everyone. Thanks everyone. Yes. Thanks, Anil sir. Thank you, Vinita ma'am. Yeah, so the inner circle will be there today at 8 o'clock. So you can join the inner circle at 8 o'clock.